Well, hey, and welcome to day 13 of walking through the Gospel of Mark together. And today we're going to be in chapter 4, verses 1 through 20. And the whole reading today is just one parable and kind of Jesus explaining it. And it's the parable of the sower and the seeds. It's a very well-known parable that you might have read many times. Jesus actually explains the parable pretty well at the end. And so I'm not going to belabor that, but I do want to focus on something here with the disciples. You see, like with Jesus, the parables, it was important that he convey a meaning to the people. He wanted to convey a story. A kingdom principle is what these parables were. But so often I feel like the people were there, but the real focus was on the disciples. It was on helping them understand. And I think one of the things that he's trying to show them here is they're still in this mode where they're wanting to build a kingdom like we would build a kingdom. Like it's got to have an army and it's got to have as many people as possible. And even modern pastors seem to be focused on that. And when you read Jesus's his parable here about the soils, you realize that he's not focused on just pure numbers. What he's focused on is disciples who will dig deep, who will have roots that grow deep, and they're very, very fruitful. And Dallas Willard wrote about this years and years ago, and he said, disciples, we shouldn't be measuring numbers like how many disciples we have. We should be measuring fruit and how deep they are and how heavy their fruit weighs. Like this is what Jesus is talking about, because there's so many people who will immediately respond to the gospel and they seem healthy and they seem ready, and the sun comes and the distractions of the world come and temptations come and all these other things happen and they're gone. They just get swept away. And Jesus is talking about the kind of disciple whose roots go down deep and who's healthy and who ultimately bears fruit. And he says the seed that fell on good soil represents those who hear and accept God's word and produce a harvest of 30, 60, or even 100 times as much as had been planted. And the challenge he says to us in verse 9 is he says, anyone with ears to hear should listen and understand. Instead of just trying to have pure numbers, Jesus made it clear. It's not about how many, it's about how deep. It's about how healthy. That's how our discipleship should be. Not just doing the things of church, but trying to be healthy disciples who produce much fruit. So that's our prayer for us, that we would be disciples who bear much fruit and that God deeply touches you this week. And so have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.